2012 GSL Blizzard Cup. MVP DongRaeGu, Hero, Lina, Parting, Sniper, Light, Link, Violet, Sid.
Hey guys, the year all comes down to this. It's time for the Blizzard Cup, the end of the year tournament with the best players from all around the world.
Exactly. We are having a treat in front of us. 2 days of groups, and we have the best players in the entire world here.
Yeah, they're all coming from so many different tournament wins all over the world, including in Korea. You've got one Terran player standing within the group. It's MVP. We'll see how he's going to do. We've got a lot of great Zergs and Protoss in the group as well.
Exactly. A lot of Zergs, a lot of Protoss players, one sole Terran player, the lone Terran, and he is playing in today's group. He's actually playing in the first match as well. He has to face DRG, and this alone sets the pace for the entire week, guys. We have so many great players and so many great matches ahead of us. It's going to be epic.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. You know, MVP versus DRG is going to be such a sick match. You know, the thing is about DRG is he got here based on his wins earlier this year, but towards the end of the year he's looked a little bit shakier, so it's unfortunate timing for him, but this is another way for him to prove himself, despite the fact that he hasn't been able to really grab onto those results right away just so far this year at the end.
Let's have a quick look at a few information prepared by the staff for you guys. Just here we have our timetable. We have today on Monday 2 matches, basically the entire group. All the games are going to be a best of 3. Tomorrow is going to be Group B, and then we are heading on Wednesday into the round of 6 playoffs. On Thursday we have the semifinals, and on Saturday is going to be the overall final.
Yeah, there's going to be some pretty cool stuff going on before the finals as well. You guys will find out about that later.
The winner of the tournament takes $40,000.
Yeah, 40 million Korean won. That's so much money. Now, here's basically how our format works. The top player goes to the round of 4. The second and third player go to the round of 6. There's a playoff where they basically have a cross match to find out who else goes to fill in the last of the playoff spots.
A pretty cool system. I really like it quite a lot, especially when you have 10 players in total. It makes a lot of sense. And our maps, we have the first map for all of the matches already, and then the loser picks map number 2. Starting map for DRG versus MVP for the Battle of Acronyms is going to be Entombed Valley.
Yeah. This is going to be pretty awesome, and I'm actually starting to get chills in my bones. You can see the map pool down there, consisting of maps you all know. They're basically the same maps. If I'm not mistaken, actually, I'm like 100% sure they're all the same maps from Code S.
If you actually just go through the matches that you have, it is just incredible. Here's, of course, how the players qualified. You can already see the point rankings here in the GSL. Rain, the OSL champion. We have Hero. He didn't only win DreamHack Winter, but he also took the title at NASL.
Yep, and because of the double victory there, you know, he still gets the spot. Because we already had the winner of IPL in here, Violet takes the 2nd spot there, getting the 8th slot. Then, of course, MLG Fall, Life got that one. BWC and WC Parting. Sniper actually takes 2nd place in GSL point rankings. If you consider how long he's been in Code S, it does actually make sense that he would end up being 2nd.
Yeah, exactly. And guys, if you just look at the games today, it's going to be incredible. We are not only having MVP versus DRG, but Hero versus Linog, MVP versus Parting. There's so many good games, it's insane. Just have a look at this group. This is so stacked. MVP, DRG, Hero, Linog, and Parting. And that's only Group A.
Yep. I mean, if you look at the way those players are stacked, it almost looks like they're inside of a pool ball thing, and we're about to strike that, and some of the players scattered everywhere to see who's going to win. Here is the information about MVP. GSL ranked first, 68.1% win ratio with way over 100 games played.
There's a good reason why he is the first in the GSL ranking, probably like the best player in the entire world, at least the most consistent player.
Yep, now you can see here's the information about DRG. He actually has a 70.1% win ratio with just shy of 100 games played. He's got ranked 3rd in GSL points. That's how he actually qualified for this tournament.
And our next player is, of course, Hero, ranked 13th in the GSL ranking. Won a DreamHack Winter and took also first place at the last NASL finals. Came back to Korea, was pretty jet lagged, had to play in Code A, and
Hero
lost the game.
He's actually, more successful overseas than in Korea these days. Here is Lenok, someone who's actually quite successful both in the GSL and overseas with a 60.1 win ratio, getting his IPL Season 5 championship, granted him this spot in the tournament.
Won MLG as well.
Yep.
Actually, he took second place. Sorry, my bad.
And that was Life who took him. But he made second place there. Pretty impressive. Parting is ranked 11th in the GSL. Just got back into Code S recently from Code A. Won both World Champions, BWC and WCG. That's kind of hard to say, but he did it, man.
Yeah, he did it. He is one of the best players in the world, and people argue that he's the best Protoss these days. Here's Group B, though, with Sniper, Life, Rain, Seed, and Violet. Another stacked group. I'm especially excited to see Rain here.
Now, here is Sniper. I think a lot of people might be surprised to know he's actually ranked 2nd in the GSL. It's because he's been in Code S so consistently recently, and of course, doing extremely well.
Also in the GSTL, but of course, we're focusing a little bit on the individual leagues.
Yeah. And here's Life, man, ranked 4th in the GSL, a one-time champion, and he's also the champion of MLG Fall.
Exactly, was able to win against MVP in the GSL season. Here we have Rain, the OSL champion. He did so well in Code S, but then he dropped out of Code A. Will have to re-qualify in January.
Yeah, and here's Violet, man, taking 2nd place at IPL 5, ranked 64th in the GSL. He's actually been in the GSL for a long time, played in the open seasons. He's been traveling, living in the United States for a while, but he's back.
And there's Seed, the player who seems a little bit cursed these days. He won against MC in the GSL, took the 5th place in the point ranking. But just in the recent past, he struggled
He kind of scraped by getting the 5th place point ranking, barely making it into this tournament. Now here is our list of matches for the afternoon session. Just like Code A, actually, for Blizzard Cup, we actually have an afternoon session and an evening session. The group is split into 2 sessions of Code A, or Blizzard Cup, not Code A. This is where it gets real, man. This is not Code A, this is the Blizzard Cup, this is the GSL Tour Finals.
Yeah, this is going to be quite intense. I mean, look at these games. MVP versus DongRaeGu to start things off. And then we are heading into another match that features, of course, Lenok versus Hero. The first 2 players, they are ready. And Tune Valley is going to be our first map in this Terran versus Zerg. And this is a bit of a grudge match because MVP lost to DongRaeGu in the last Code S season without taking a single map. But this time, he has different plans. He wants to take it.
He actually showed in IEM Season 7 in Cologne that he actually knows how to play great Terran vs. Zerg, utilizing some excellent Banshee play in that tournament. He's known for his mech play these days against Zerg, but he can play a bio just as strong as people were doing it in the past. A very versatile opponent to play against DongRaeGu.
And here we have his opponent, DongRaeGu, just mentioned by Wolf. And look at all these titles. This guy is a champion. So many runner-ups on the other hands as well. And let's be honest about it. In the last few weeks, he did not play. He underperformed a little bit. He didn't play any bad. I mean, this guy is still one of the best players.
But he didn't play as well as everyone expects.
Exactly.
And that can be a little bit of disappointment to the fans, but he's still here. Yep. He did so well this year that he actually still got one of the highest point rankings and also taking that MLG placement, doing really well.
If you see DongRaeGu in the booth, then you expect greatness, and just in the last few weeks, he was not able to deliver. He played well, but he did not. And we wasn't able to just be on par with the best players in Korea. So he wants to show everyone what he's made of. He wants to show them that even though Sniper won the last GSL, he is still the top dog in Team MVP.
Yeah. I have to say, man, this map is going to be so cool. I feel like MVP could do anything from a 2x proxy to full-on mech to double reactor, 4 Hellions at a time production going at the DongRaeGu. We can even see Marauder Hellion. Anything is possible on this map. I'm so excited.
It's going to be epic. I mean, MVP versus DongRaeGu is definitely one of the best games in the entire group, and that's a little bit difficult, especially with the recent history that they had. I mentioned the Code S match a little bit earlier, so that's definitely something where MVP is like, okay, well, this time I'm going to take it. And he has a lot of pressure. I mean, every Terran player in the entire world is looking how he is going to do in this group.
Everyone is watching. This is the first set in the Blizzard Cup Group A. I'm Wolf, with me is Kyler. It's time for MVP versus DongRaeGu. Let's jump into it, Tune Valley.
we are ready to go, and so are our players at the Blizzard Cup. We are starting things off with the Terran versus Zerg, two of the best players in the entire world. And starting to the bottom left of Entombed Valley, our first map in this best of 3, is the Terran player from Incredible Miracle. It is
LGIM MVP.
MVP. There he is. A legend, the best player in the world. To the top left, his opponent, though, for the team MVP. Not producing the results you'd expect from him recently, but this is his chance, this is his opportunity. He is
MVP DongRaeGu.
an awesome player who's accomplished so much as well.
DongRaeGu, man, he's just a boss. He might not have been able to take titles in the recent past, but he is such a great player. And well, guys, Entombed Valley was one of the maps that DongRaeGu and MVP played in the last Code S season against each other. DongRaeGu took both games. He won on Daybreak and he also won on Entombed Valley. MVP this time wants to make sure that he is the victor in this best of 3, that he takes the first best of 3 win in this group. It's a stacked group, it's a tough one, and he's the only Terran player out there. The only matchup that he didn't have to practice for is the mirror matchup.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that he can be pretty happy to say that he doesn't have to play that matchup in this particular group. Now, DongRaeGu will go for the hatch first, as is normal.
Yeah.
And of course, MVP doing something that's also pretty common on this map, making the command center first on the high ground as part of the wall.
Exactly, it's a big map and therefore you can get away with it. We have a drone scout out for DongRaeGu, send an overlord to the bottom, will see his opponent's base very soon if he moves it. Yes, there it is, and sees the supply depot. Immediately backs off.
Yeah, he's just going to use the drone now to get all the information in the world, which is going to be just simply the command center first, which is going to make DongRaeGu, you know, feel like, okay, this is pretty normal. I can actually drone up really heavily for a little bit, but I have to be careful because some of the scariest timings actually do come out of command center first because your economy just explodes once you get that landed.
Yeah. If you just have a look at MVP's statistics against Zerg, it's quite overwhelming. This guy has a 63% win ratio across all the games that he ever played against Zerg in televised matches. 116 wins and 67 losses. And just in the recent past, if you have a quick look at it, he lost against DongRaeGu, as mentioned before. That was the last game he played against Zerg. He lost against an ST at the World Esports Masters 2012 back at the end of October. And of course, he also lost against Life in the Code S season in an epic best of 7. He only had to win one map and would have been the victor, but in the end, Life was a little bit stronger. But if you just check out all these games, they were against the best Zergs that we have in Korea, and all of those matches were pretty close. So MVP, with the preparation and with just the consistency that he's known for, he is one of the top contenders in Group A.
Yeah, he definitely is, man. I actually don't know who I would predict in this particular best of 3, given that MVP has recently lost to DongRaeGu, but on the other hand, DongRaeGu is looking a little bit weaker these days, so it's hard to predict.
Exactly. Talking about that weakness that you just mentioned, it's especially transparent when he faces a Terran player. He played in the 3rd round of Code A against Noblesse, against his own teammate, and was defeated. With a 2-1, Noblesse was able to take the game. And also, when you just have a look at the MLG Tournament of Champions, DongRaeGu lost against Flash. In the best of 5, he took only one map against Flash. And also against Bomber at the IGN Pro League, he was defeated by a Terran player. So he's, of course, still a really strong player. And with a 62% win ratio against Terran in general, you can see that he is just really great at this matchup. But just the recent few games in this particular matchup were a little bit tough on him.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, I wanted to mention I see a Lenog actually leaning against the back wall watching the tournament from afar. He's got to study these games because he knows that he's going to have to face MVP later as well.
A fast tech here, 2-layer by DongRaeGu before the 6-minute mark. We have him with the first 100 gas invested into speed, so he will have the speed links that helps him to defend against the Hellions, but a very, very quick tech afterwards. We still have him on 2 bases, not getting the 3rd just now. A lot of Zerg players are going to use this style with late gas, a lot of queens defending and then going into a 3rd. Not so DongRaeGu. With this, he has the option to go into Mutalisk. He can go into a faster and faster attack and then safely take his 3rd base. A lot of different options for DongRaeGu now with this opening.
Yeah, you're very right, and I think that this is the most flexible way that people are playing this matchup these days because you have so many different tech options you can go to. You have the speed out to defend against Hellions. Right now, of course, MVP going for Banshees back at home. This is what he's known for, but is he going to start Cloak? He's got the resources now. And he does start it. This is how MVP oftentimes opens up before he transitions into mech.
And DRG with his fast lair tech, of course, cannot only start his own tech, but we will see him with an Overseer as soon as he realizes what's going on. And there's the Infestation Pit, right into the Infestation Pit tech. This will allow him to easily hold a third base as soon as he wants to go for it. And he's actually hiding it.
Yeah, just so that if there is a scan, will not be spotted. The problem for him, though, is the Banshee is going to want to go for that mineral line potentially now that he knows there's no third, so he might just see it with the Banshee anyways.
Sometimes you see a Zerg player even trying to go for a bit of infestor timing, and with the burrow upgrade that we see out of DRG, this is also an option. Think about what he's doing here. Yes, he kills the rocks, but this is also something that MVP will of course scout. And DRG has now the option to go for a bit of an infestor timing. We've seen this in the past, and he's trying to hide his tech.
Yeah.
So this kind of indicates that he might just do it. We have him with Burrow, we have him with the Pathogen Glance. So this could be him just trying to go for it, using a lot of Infestor Terrans and trying to break down the wall of MVP.
MVP is going into mech while still making Marines, so his Marine count is actually being a little bit higher. That makes him a little bit safer against Mutalisks, but you know, he's actually making that Viking as well as second one coming out. So he's actually very prepared against Mutalisks play, but the Infestor play may catch him a little bit off guard. He's trying to get that third command center, and that was a sick drone save.
Yeah. That was really well done. He walks in, he sees the hell, and he realizes, okay, well, my drone is doomed, but I can just drag the extractor, and then it's going to be fine.
This Overlord is not going to be so lucky, though.
No transfuse, no Queen to save it, and the second one is already being attacked, but this time the Queen is there to save the day.
Yeah, she's ready. The Marines are targeting down those rocks as MVP wants to move that command center over as soon as the orbital is done. DRG takes a fourth hatchery with his third, so he's double expanding here, but he's got the Infestors to back this up.
Yeah, usually you would just use the Infestors to be a little bit passive here, spread the creep, trying to get an early detection system. But I really want to see if he's trying to be a bit aggressive with them. Usually we don't see that all that often, but with the early burrow, it kind of would make sense because it lined up so well for him.
Yeah. He's moving out across the map with them, but I think it's just to look for Banshees.
Yeah, I actually feel like right now he's only playing this a little bit more defensive, but he has the option. I mean, he doesn't have to do it, but he has the option to try to pull it. And, well, right now he's just trying to take the map with those Zerglings.
Uh-oh, the Infestor definitely going to get this Banshee for sure if he wants it. He may actually just try to hide them, though, instead. No, he's going to kill the Banshee. Well,
no, I don't think so. I think he's really trying to break down the wall with the Infestor Terrans.
This is going to be pretty tough against this many Hellions.
Exactly. The recent change was that the infested Swarmex now don't have 100 hit points anymore, but they have 70, so maybe even a Fungal against the Hellions to use those Zerglings.
Oh, he shows the Infestors. A few Hellions get away, and this is not good. He could actually chase down those Infestors if he gets away from the Infested Terrans. He actually tries to fight them for a second, but now he realizes that he can just pull away.
Yeah.
More Infestors coming in here, actually.
He showed his hand now, you know? He showed his hand. He showed to MVP, listen up, I don't only have Infested, I actually went for Burrow. I can hit a bit of a timing here. And MVP is getting more Siege Tanks, more Hellions now. Gets the Blue Flame attack upgrade, and we also have +1. So right now, with those Infestors, there's a lot of danger to MVP's composition. He needs some detection here.
Yeah, he's got a turret at his where the rocks used to be, but it doesn't cover his third command center where there are 3 Infestors currently lying in wait.
I wouldn't even be surprised to see a Raven pretty soon, just to have like a mobile option of getting some scouts in here.
Yeah, he's making a reactor on his starport, but he can always switch to get the Raven out and switch back.
The Queen's in the middle of the map, still spreading the creep, and now the Roach Warren as DRG realizes what kind of composition MVP is going to use this game.
This Burrowed Infestor squad is going to be devastating. No matter when he decides to use it, it's going to do a lot of damage. He's going to wait until the best possible moment when MVP moves out, so not only can he kill a bunch of SCVs, but then force potentially MVP to come back home to defend, because if he doesn't, he might lose his command center. This is so scary that he's got those 3 Infestors there.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit surprised that MVP does not use a scan to look if the Infestors are still there. He saw them earlier, and there's always the option for DRG to just hide them, but MVP thinks that DRG retreated. So he's not really aware that the Infestors are already in. With the missile turret at the front, no new Infestors can just simply burrow in there, but DRG hit a few in the early beginning.
Yep. It's high risk, high reward here. Banshee
the
gets taken out.
Hellions doing damage here now as the 4th base moving in right away.
Yeah.
And with the Blue Flame doing a lot of damage.
A few fungals, but you know, we already killed 10 workers. But at the same time, MVP is struggling to hold on to these siege tanks. He's going to lose another one here.
Here come the infested Terrans, but what a sick reaction by MVP. Wow.
He pulls right away. Will lose neither the command center or very many of his SCVs. Looks like he lost 7 in total. It could have been a lot worse.
I'm really impressed here. He immediately realized what was going on.
Yeah, that was actually quite impressive. He needs a scan to kill the infestors. Will he do it? So many players leave it, but he says, no, not me, I'm MVP.
He backs them in a corner and takes them out one by one. But look at DRG's tech here. He's already on his way to Hive. He actually completes it at 2:30. And the Spire maybe start a little bit late if he wants to head right into Broodlords. But he still has it. It's not gonna be that awesome timing that he wants. I actually feel like he forgot the Spire, that he just wanted to click it because he realized, hey, my Hive tech is done. I can go into Greater Spire. Look for it. He's like, where is it actually?
Yeah, I think he may have been too focused on his infestor harassments to actually get that out while trying to get his Roach Warren up and everything else, all these other upgrades. But you know, MVP took a little bit of damage at his 4th base during that attack at the 3rd with the infestors, while he was able to pick off, I think, 3 siege tanks and was able to deny mining for just a little bit there. Now the planetary is up. Now he's got siege tanks split and ready. But that was a really nice tactic by DongRaeGu, who's also now spread his creep almost to that 4th base. So his creep spread here is awesome, and it's not only really far, but also really thick. So it's going to be hard for MVP with a mech army to actually scan and clean that up.
It's actually not even only the creep spread itself, it's just his macro in general. Look at all these bases that he has, the creep spread, his injects. It's insane. The only thing that he really forgot is that Spire. He's going for double Spire right now. You can really see that he wants to head into Broodlords. He messed that timing up a little bit, but that's just an honest mistake. Maybe even he tried to build a Spire and then suddenly a drone was blocking it. We'll never know. But here come the Hellions once again, but this time they are out of luck.
Yeah, they're out of luck, but he does do a little bit of damage. And he gets to annoy DongRaeGu a little bit longer while he's trying to get his +3 out. He actually started his 2nd army a little bit late, so he's getting the plating upgrade now. 3 siege tanks at a time coming out for MVP, but his Viking count is only at 5 with the 6th one coming out. Now he's adding 2 additional starports. You know, he's going to be able to stop siege tank production and get the rest of his army maxed into Vikings if he wants to, or he can trade his army right now and then remax with Vikings when he sees those very important Broodlords coming out. This is a great timing for him, actually.
MVP is moving out now, and the cool thing for him really is that there are no Broodlords, and it will take a little while for DRG to get those Broodlords with the Greater Spire only halfway done. And don't forget about the starports here. It's like,
yeah, his starports coming out. His siege tanks his siege tank count is insane. He also split them really well against some of those fungals, so none of them really died. They just took a little bit of damage here and there.
He does not go for scans, by the way. He completely ignores the creep tumors here. He scans ahead to see the position of his opponent, but he's not trying to actually do something about the creep tumors that are already there.
Oh, here we go. Infested Terrans coming down. The Lings try to run in. The siege tanks are very clumped up here, and it looks like DRG may be able to push this back, but this is not cost efficient. And in fact, he may not even be able to kill all these siege tanks.
He had a bit of a problem against his opponent's infested Swarmex. There were not enough Hellions that could do the damage, but in the end, it is still DRG who gets the worst end of the stick. MVP with a lot of damage here. This is pretty awesome. He actually 7,000 resource loss against 11,000, and MVP, he is not done yet.
And now he's got the Vikings here ready for the Broodlords. The Broodlords are not ready. That's the irony here. And DongRaeGu is going to need to make sure that he can protect those.
These supply blocks.
These supply blocks, those Broodlords are under fire. He starts to work on them. 3 of them are here, but they're going to die as quickly as they've been made.
There's no way for him to save those Broodlords, and this will allow the MVP to just push on the ground even further. That's what happens.
Yeah, this is not looking good for DRG. He's trying to break through the roaches, but the siege tanks are about to have +3. Looks like he will be able to clean up this first wave of siege tanks. MVP turns around, but the damage has been done. He took out so many of those Broodlords. The one thing, though, that we already talked about that he did not do is clear up the creep, so he's going to have to come over that once more when he wants to attack once again.
But 10,000 resources lost for MVP, 15,000 for DRG, and the Zerg player now on the offensive, trying to move in with those roaches. The creep gives him a bit of a speed edge. He is so fast at his opponent's base, moving in, and MVP trying to hold, even using now his SCVs to block.
Yeah, he's even got those Vikings landed here. He's trying to do the best he can. The roaches now trying to target down some of these SCVs, trying to make it worth their while. You know, he trades decently here. DongRaeGu remains ahead by 2 supply. Now the supply is dead, even at 143 to 143. This is now a war of upgrades and composition. MVP, though, still needs to clear up that creep spread. I'd really like to see him drop a scan or 2, or perhaps even get that Raven we talked about earlier.
At this point, the Raven would make a lot of sense because, well, he has to be careful that it's not picked off, but there are so many creep tumors. He somehow has to get all of them, and that's what he does right now. This will definitely help him a lot because what DRG used after last fight was just a speed advantage advantage that he has on creep to run in with the roaches before MVP was ready and do damage.
Yeah. Now you can see the Corruptor count with this Viking. It's very important scout information. Yeah, he can kill Overlords, but I think his real plan there was to see, all right, how many Corruptors am I dealing with here? Is he switching into Ultralisk? What's going on?
Look at this bank for MVP, and he has 2 command centers trying to get into position now. Yeah, they're Zerglings burrowed, but that's something that he will deal with very, very quickly, and then we might even actually see a few planetary fortresses here.
Yeah, we very well may. 4 tanks, 4 Vikings at a time, only a few Hellions being added into MVP's composition because he knows those are not as important to him right now. He's going to scan and clear up this Ling. Oh, actually, he kills his own Hellion in order to kill it. That's more cost efficient in the long run. These Infestors taking some serious hits. The Roaches coming in, though, finding a weak point in the Siege tanks.
Yeah, MVP, what he does not do in this game so far is rely on a few Thors to be at the front here, and a nice bundle drop by DRG to catch those Hellions. He takes them down, and this will help him so much in keeping his infested Swarmex alive and making the Infestors count.
You made a really good point. I don't think we've seen a single Thor in this entire game. He had no Mutas to deal with, and he's just skipped on Thors. He's like, no, only tanks, Vikings, and Hellions. Those are the 3 units I'm going to make, and I'm going to make a lot of them. Oh, wow, another Zergling denial. He's got Zerglings burrowed at every expansion. Now, Ultralisk Cavern Switch. Can MVP deal with this? This is one of the toughest transitions to deal with, but you know, with all the Siege tanks he already has, I don't know how much of a problem he's really going to have with the Ultralisk.
Siege tanks, especially when they are not sieged up, do a lot of damage against Ultralisk. So if you have the right ratio of sieged up tanks and those in normal combat mode, those Ultralisks are going to have a tough time. But it comes all down to the position on the map and, of course, also to the unit composition in general. Because DRG, of course, will use every single weapon in his arsenal. And that's what you can see right now. Ultralisk Cavern, Broodlords, Roaches, Infestors, everything. Lings as well.
Yeah. Good bundles here to try to buy time, but with the Siege tanks coming down, they have such a good range, even in tank mode.
Look at this bank for MVP. This guy is rich, man.
He is rich, and if he wins this tournament, he'll be even richer.
Donald Trump has nothing on him, and here comes the fight. A brilliant split, actually, on those Vikings, doing so much damage.
The Broodlord's starting to fall. Wow. The Siege tanks on the ground, not even sieging up. He knows he doesn't have to. The Vikings land as well. He doesn't worry about the Corruptors. He wants to kill the Infestors and take the battle home.
He's like, I'm completely fine with your Corruptors, and you know why? Because your Corruptors can't attack ground.
Yeah, they're not defending against any Vikings in the air against Broodlords anymore. He's actually just going to kill the Greater Spire. Greater Spire is gone. The secondary Spire may fall as well. And MVP with that bank you talked about just keeps at it. 4 Siege tanks at a time. GG.
Oh my god, MVP with a beautiful game against DRG. What a clash of titans we had to start the Blizzard Cup off here.
MVP making it look easy almost with that win.
Well, look, not quite, I have to say.
At the end of the game, he walked all over him.
Yeah, at the end of the game, it was just a pain train that DRG could not stop.
DRG with excellent crease spread in that game and really good decision making, but he never had any surprises, I feel. You know, there were a few burrowed Lings to deal with, a few run-bys at the 4th base, but there were no major surprises, and as such, I felt like his play was somewhat predictable. There didn't need to be any Thors, there were no Mutas to deal with, no turrets needed to go up.
It was an excellent game by MVP, I have to say. This was really well done. Both of those guys with exceptional macro play. You could really see that DRG took the entire top of the map, expanded to the right the entire game, but MVP was the one who had the much more cost-efficient trades every single time. Yeah. The resource loss tab was always in his favor by such a huge margin. This is one of the best players in the entire world. Guys, people will actually argue that he is the best player by far. Maybe not right now if you take a picture of this moment, but with his consistency, there's a reason why this guy has 4 titles.
This guy is the most legendary player there's ever been in StarCraft 2.
And rightfully so.
There's no question that he is actually the most successful StarCraft 2 pro gamer of all time.
And people said, yeah, there's only one Terran player in this group or in the entire tournament, but guys, I have to say that I think this Terran player has a good shot at taking it.
There is only one MVP in that group. That's really what there is to say.
Yeah.
Map number 2 is going to be Daybreak, and even though there's only one MVP, there are 2 MVPs in this picture because our player for the circle on the right side, he is, of course, MVP DongRaeGu. And can he actually prove that he is MVP's most valuable player here? You know, he's got to outshine Sniper these days, and this is, again, I feel like his one chance to shine for the rest of the year. His 2012 started off great, but it got a little bit shaky towards the end. Really has to prove himself, make sure that he can tell everyone, you know, I haven't fallen off just yet. Still, make sure you watch my games. I can show you I'm still the same DRG that I was in the first few months of this year. It hasn't changed. I've been having a tough time with results. Well, I'm still a great player, and in game number 1, he already showed he can contend with MVP.
With him, I'm always a little bit nervous how much he's affected by these games. If he can just get this clear mindset where he say, okay, last game didn't work out, but let's focus on the next one. He will have to prove it right now. He's up against the Titan. They both are. We have MVP versus